Welcome to another episode of the Sippin and Trippin Podcast, where we connect with amazing people. Today's topic is the framework of the Black community. I am your host, Desmond Black, and the person that's sipping and tripping with me today is an award-winning filmmaker, activist, and realist. He is none other than Mr. Larry Syid Wright. How you doing today, and how was your week?
How you doing, brother? My week was good, but first of all, I want to thank you for having me on your show. I've been following you. You know what I mean? I reached out to you, said, "Look, man, go ahead. We're gonna get you on. We're gonna make this thing happen." But yeah, everything is good, though. Everything is good, though.
All right. So before we went live, you mentioned you banged up your knee. What happened with that?
Man, I don't know what happened, man. It's just old age, bro. I think old age gave me a visit today, but it's all good.
Yeah, they all age always catch up to us. So it's the one battle we can't win.
It's a battle we can't win. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So you say you've been following me, so you should be used to my whole intro, my whole spiel. But on this platform, I like to conversate, educate, and entertain. So first, tell the viewers a little bit about your podcast and what made you start it.
Okay, well, the name of my podcast is what you see, Get the Black Mind Right. And I've been doing like shit for what made me start it was like when I listened to these podcasts and stuff like that, I just joined in, but my show focused more on, because I'm a Black nationalist, I'm pro-Black. So my show really focused on Black empowerment, you know what I mean, educating
right.
and putting people in a position where it is we not only feel good about who we are, we have confidence in who we are and what we stand for. So when I bring people on, my show is really about just having a real conversation, But I do tell people this: there's two people on my. It used to be three, and people that you can't. I don't do bashing on my show. We just have a conversation, but we can't talk bad about Kim Kardashian, Halle Berry. And I say Kanye, but Kanye on my blacklist right now because Kanye don't know where he at, but that's still my man though.
no, that's interesting. You said we can't talk bad about Kim. Why is that?
Listen, I'm gonna tell you a quick. I'm gonna give you a quick scenario, and then we're gonna move on. And I had this conversation with women. So let's just say a chick that dated 5 men, and I said, listen. They always call Kim, they always call Kim out of her name, like she's a whore or whatever. So I said, so you dated 5 men, you had sex with these 5 men. I said, so what's the difference between Kim Kardashian dating 5 men and having sex with 5 men? I said, the difference is this: she getting paid, y'all not. I said, so what you're getting is a wet tail, she getting a fat check. I said, I said, you can't call her something that you have been part of too. 5 men.
Right. Listen, I get that, but the reason why I asked you to elaborate on that is because you could have just said women in general. You specifically name dropped Kim, so you must got a thing for Kim.
I do. No. Listen, I have a thing. It's like that. I have a thing for Kim, and Halle Berry to me coming up with the prettiest woman ever. That's to me. So these just like two people, and like Kanye. This is why I'm kind of got Kanye on my black. I call it the black burner because he shouldn't have wore that. He shouldn't have wore that Ku Klux Klan suit, whatever color it was. But this is the thing that I like about Kanye. No matter how stupid sometimes Kanye act, at the end of the day, when you listen to what Kanye be saying about the industry and about people, he be telling the truth. It's just his antics that make him. They say bipolar.
Nah, he got issues. He got psychological issues. He need to go see a therapist, and he needs Jesus. He's also a Trump supporter, so we ain't even gonna get into that.
He's not really a Trump supporter. All Kanye.
Yeah, no.
This is
Kanye is a Trump supporter.
This is what I can tell you. Kanye ain't a Trump supporter. If Kanye was a Trump supporter, Kanye wouldn't think he black. And Kanye knows he's black. Them Trump supporters, them real Trump supporters, they think they white. Because they trying to live in that fantasy.
Man.
That's just
wow. Wow. Well, all right. So where are you from and where did you grow up?
Okay, I'm originally from New Jersey, Penn Grove, New Jersey. And if anybody,
what part of New Jersey?
Penn Grove, exit 1 on the Jersey Turnpike.
Oh shit, I never heard of that, but all right, go ahead.
Small town. So the claim to our fame is that, do you know who Bruce Willis is?
Absolutely.
We all from the same town, and actually, him and my brother graduated together. We all went to the same.
No. Okay.
So that's when I tell people where I'm from. But and at one time, our high school, had the longest consecutive track meet wins without a loss. Our high school won 118 consecutive meets. So that's just stuff, my little high school stuff. But Dexter, if you hit exit 1 on the Jersey Turnpike, that's where I live at. A little small little town.
Gotcha. All right. So you have any siblings?
Yeah, man, I got shit. I ain't gonna try to get. I'm just gonna say I got like 8 brothers and sisters.
Okay.
And my mother, huh?
Go ahead. Yeah, I was about to say. It sounds like you want to say you got more than that.
Well, you know how my dad, you know how them dads was back in the day. I'll probably do somewhere.
Yeah. So your dad was a Rolling Stone, huh?
Oh man, I ain't trying to front.
Right, you're right though. Because back in the day, man. Hey, listen, I feel like in the black community specifically, I think that back in the day, that's all we had was just sex, man. Because it's like we didn't have technology, and I say that because when I was doing Ancestry.com, right, and I started doing the family tree on my father's side, I was like, good guy, it's like hella kids. Like I'm talking about like 1 of 15, 1 of 17, shit like that, and I'm like, that's deep.
Yeah, and see, this is this is the worst part of that. And it's like back then, and this is why I respect my mom and I respect a lot of women back then. You know what I mean? That's still here. You know what I mean? Or even past it, because they dealt with that. They put up with that. Because a lot of them women, back then, really, they didn't have nowhere to go, and they was young. They get this man that's taking care of them. You know what I mean? They didn't know no better. They just knew they was young. They might have been 14, 15, 16 years old. They got this man taking care of them. So what else could they do but deal with it? And that, you know what I mean? And people don't like talking about that, but that's the reality of it.
You're right. Because like that's another thing. Back in the day, I don't know if it was just like every culture, but like I know in the black community, like at a young age, it's just having sex and having kids, man. It's the pregnancy rate was high back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that really came from, back in the day, people wasn't allowed to say that their mom's husband or somebody raped them, or and this and that happened, because a lot of situations is back then. A lot of these people that got kids, that I'm not gonna say a lot. They didn't have kids by like family members, but they 13, 14, and 15. They didn't have kids by family members. Got them pregnant and stuff like that. But that was just the reality of it. That was just the reality of it back then. Now, was it a great reality? No, it wasn't. Because it's like we go through so much. I seen what my mom went through, and I seen what other women go through. But one thing about my mom, she never ever blamed anybody for her mistakes and her faults, because she used to always tell us, it was whether it was a good decision or a bad decision, I made the decision, so I got to live with it.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah.
So what do you do for a living?
Well, I drive a truck. I work for I'm gonna say it's called Velocity, but we're a branch of Mercedes-Benz, and I deliver like truck. I'm like Amazon on the truck side.
Okay.
I deliver like truck, but my thing is though, I'm a filmmaker, I'm a cinematographer, I'm a director, I do theater. That's what I really love doing, and but I still got to pay the bill. Just retired in my own. Well, I didn't retire, but I retired. So I give me more time to just do stuff that I really want to do and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Are you married, or have you been married before?
Yeah. I've been. Hold on. Yeah, this is my second marriage, but my first marriage, I tell people, and I don't really like harp on stuff. On my first marriage, I really was not a good person. I pay for it, and I pay, and I'm gonna say this, and I never said this before. I wasn't a good person. Then I got on drugs, And I think my punishment for not being a good person, treating my first wife was that 10-year drug battle that I dealt with. That was people. I mean, that was his way of I don't want to say punishing me, but that was his way of telling me that next time you get yourself together and you get somebody that's good in your life, you're gonna really, really, really put out 100% and treat that person right. And that's you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, we all go through things, man. So, speaking of which, are you religious?
Okay. I'm religious, but I support the Nation of Islam. I support
Okay.
I support any religion that believes in supporting each other wholeheartedly. You know what I mean? I don't believe I have to go through Jesus to get to God. I believe my relationship with God is our relationship.
Okay.
I had I had a relationship with somebody one time, and we was talking. I said, well, if God is Jesus, if Jesus is God, or if God is Jesus, why do I have to go through Jesus to get to God?
Right. I see Richard said he put people in your life to steer you
And
the right way.
let me tell you something. That brother right there, he's from Philly,
Okay.
and he's my best. He's my best friend down here. Like my best friend is from New Jersey. We grew up together. But this brother here, that's my brother right there. Cause we didn't been through a lot together. You know what I mean? He didn't have some. He didn't went through something. I don't went through stuff, and we can sit down and we support each other. You know what I mean? And a true friend is someone that's going to always tell you the truth, whether you like it or not.
Right.
You feel
And
what I'm
and that's
saying?
important. That's important to have a good support system, you know?
And that's a true friend. But one thing about when I moved down here too is that Allah put me in a position where I started from scratch. I didn't know nobody. I moved in with my brother. He was a police officer. You know what I mean? I moved here, didn't know nobody. I didn't know nobody. I met Richard, you know what I mean? And we just connected like brothers. And I deal, but but there's a lot of other brothers and sisters that I deal with that I call, my brothers and sisters. But just that me and Richard, we just got that brotherly bond where it is, we just, we like family.
Right. Okay. So in this first segment we're going to speak about today, right, it's focusing on the black America or the framework in the black community, right? So it's this one of those conversations where sometimes it can get controversial, but it's also a good conversation, right? Especially with two black individuals, right? Because we have a lot that we can relate to, and from there we can just build on it, right? Like because it's a crisis in the black community with a whole bunch of things, right? Like with society and the way we accept it, the way we're not accepted, it's a lot. Um, he said we are definitely family.
Now Allison Caulfield, I think that, do you know who Allison is?
Yeah, that's my kid's mom.
Oh, that's what's up. How you doing, Miss Allison?
So we
Richard.
all need our backbone family or friends.
That's it. Yes, that's definite. You know what I'm saying? Before we move any further, let me say this. People always ask me who do I like like the who I really pay a lot of homage to. And
Right.
I got a lot of brothers, but my two sisters, my sister Debbie and my sister Sandy, they my hearts, other than my mom, because
Right.
them two females, they put up with a lot from all her brothers when we was all like they on that shit. You see what I'm saying? Her and my sister Debbie, my sister Sandy, and my mom, they put up a lot, and they went through a lot with us. And in this day,
Right.
to this day, what I mean, they still there. My sister said, and she fusses all at us all the time, but it's love though, and we a loving family,
Right.
and I love my sisters more than anything. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. You like I said, you should always love your siblings and your parents and your family, man. Because at the end of the day, family is all we got. Or at least that's how it should be. Anyways, that's why it's always good to build up that relationship and that rapport from an early age and just continue to work on that. What is this? Says we put up with a lot until we can't. I'm not sure where she was going with that one, but
I was just not throwing a jab at you right now.
That's what I took it. I don't,
But you know what though? I tell we can move after this, but this is what I tell people. And I want people to listen to me. If you can't go home, you can't go nowhere. Never burn
I
your
like that.
You'll never burn your bridges at home.
Right. I like that, but yeah, we definitely gonna move on to this first segment before the comments start going on that one.
Okay.
So when we talk about when we talk about Black America, right? We talk about issues of racial inequality, historical injustices, and ongoing struggle for social and economic justice. Um, do you think that reparations are necessary to address the economic inequalities that continue to affect Black communities?
Okay, so me and my partner Glenn Jones, we produced a film about reparation. And the film was 3 attorneys took America before the World Court for reparations. It's a whole hearing, and it explains why we are owed reparations. So it's not that reparations isn't a gift. Reparations is owes to us. And then this is their. I'm gonna get to that answer, but this is their argument. Well, this happened to people in the past. Well, you still giving the Jews still get money. America helped Germany. America helped the Jews get reparations from Germany. The Germany had to borrow money from America to pay the reparations to the Jews, what they just paid off like some 15, 20 years ago. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's just one thing. So if America can help the Jews get reparations from the Holocaust, why can't we get reparations from America for what they did to us?
It's a good question. And it's crazy that you asked that because I really ain't got the answer there. I never thought about it. Nobody really posed that question to me. You know what I'm saying?
Well, this is the answer to that. You're not if you give us 1 penny, that's an admission of guilt.
Right.
If you don't give us nothing, now you ain't got to admit that you're guilty.
I get it, but you just said the Jews got reparation. Why can't we? So now when you look at the two, it's like, why were they able to and not us? Right? You think you? Go ahead.
Brother. Because America got the money from help with getting the Jews money, the Jewish community money from the Germans. That's different from them giving us money because that's their admission of guilt. They don't care. They don't care about somebody else's admission of guilt, but they care about America. Care about theirs. It's just like when doing Pearl Harbor, when Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. 800 and something. Somebody can correct me on this. 800 and something Jews or 80,000 Japan. They got reparations from being put in a camp during the war with Japan in America. They got reparation.
Right.
He's talking about reparations.
Oh yeah, we're talking about Trump, and that's the truth. I know that.
Well, Obama, he said he wasn't going to deal with reparation either.
Oh man,
he did, but but Obama didn't say it to be rude. Obama said, he pretty much said, as hard as it is for me to get stuff passed that should be passed to support Americans, do you think I'm going to get a reparation bill passed?
Yeah, he said he did try.
He spoke about it.
Yeah. Listen, one thing people get misconstrued, right? Is people think that just because you're the president of the United States, your word is gold. Your word is the end all be all, but it doesn't work that way. Even the president got to go through proper channels. So you can come up with all these ideas all you want to, right? If it's not voted in, guess what? It doesn't matter if you're the president. It's not going to fly. You just you got more of an influence than anybody else, right? You're the face of the nation. You're the face of the country, but your word is not gold. Your word is not the end all be all.
Well, Trump just proved that wrong this year. Do you know how bills are supposed to get passed? Do you know what an executive order actually is? I'm going to educate people. Yeah, you're right. The deck was definitely stacked against her. I'm going to educate people today on what an executive order is. An executive order ain't nothing but somebody writing something down on a piece of paper and saying we need to get this passed. Now, all these executive orders Trump doing if Congress really done their job, all them executive orders have to go through Congress. There's some he can change. There's some he can do without going through Congress. But 80-some% of them executive orders he's passing, they supposed to go through Congress. They supposed to go through a hearing. But right now, today, is that the Republicans and these MAGA Republicans and even the Democrats, they so money hungry that everybody's getting something in their pocket. That's why it's not going up in front of Congress. All that stuff was supposed to go in front of Congress. So all these executive orders he's passing, it's just like the deportation thing. No matter if I'm illegal or not, you just can't snatch a person up and say, I'm taking you back. Especially when you get in this country.
Right.
And she said, like,
yeah. So exactly. So when at my job, right, we had an email. It would say about like the whole deportation. They can only take you if you have a warrant with specific names. But to add to that, this is the thing. For the deportation, right? Like you said, it's supposed to go through proper channels. But when Trump got in office, right, they just snatching people without going through the proper channels and just sending them back. They just took somebody yesterday. They was in there. They was in a hearing for renewing their visa, right? They had a visa and it was still good. It didn't expire or nothing. They was in a hearing and they got snatched from there and got deported. That's crazy. Okay. That's insane.
Let me ask you a question. Who makes the laws?
You said who makes the laws?
Who makes the laws?
I mean, I guess I got to say Congress, like, because look.
No. What I'm saying is, the people that created the laws are the ones that's breaking the laws.
Oh yeah. If you put it that way, yeah.
Point. You know what I mean? They're breaking the law, and and they know they're breaking the law. Anytime the Supreme Court say that you can't do this, and you still do it anyway, and then they don't take you to court, what's that telling you?
Yeah, the system's flawed. It's crooked. It's crooked. You know what I mean?
But people need to thank Trump. This is the one thing people need to thank Trump for: exposing a system that's really flawed.
Right.
You feel me?
Right. We said, yep, a Democratic congressman is in the process of getting the guy back from Cuba. Yeah, and this is the thing. Since you were talking about Democrats, see this thing. Trump is firing all the Democrats that's not following his lead. Right? If you're not saying the same things he's saying or walking the walk that he wants you to walk, he getting rid of you. So that's the thing. So a lot of people they try to keep their jobs, just like a lot of us in America, right? And sometimes they just keep a closed mouth, which is not a good thing.
Well, if people, we're gonna get back on the black thing too, but if Congress, the Senate and Congress, I'm gonna back up with them. Do you know who's the largest organization in Washington?
Who's that?
The Congressional Black Congress. They're the largest group in DC. And how much votes do they have? And people can come on here and correct me and whatever, but they're the largest. But as far as that, if they don't like take these people to court, if they don't sue these people, if they don't sue these people. And if they don't take these people to court, that's why they're getting away with it. Because they can all sue. Congress can sue because they do it all the time just to get them in the courtroom and hold stuff up.
Right. So his shirt says "Get the Black Mind Right." That's the name of his podcast. His hat says the same thing. So that's just him promoting his brand.
yeah. And it's with me, it's about the blackness, it's about the culture, and it's about us. It's about us realizing that unless we change, our plan, we're stuck in a position. We're stuck, but we don't want to change our plan because it's like in the 60s. In the 60s, people didn't have anything to live for, so they fought because they were being oppressed, they was being underpaid, they wasn't having jobs. They, a lot of them was farmers. You know what I mean? But so right now we're going through that in a different way because all these people that are supposed to be speaking for us, they're getting fat checks.
Right.
What the Wu-Tang say? Cash rules everything around me.
Yeah. Hey, Chef, You said change your mind. What do you mean by that exactly? I mean, I ain't saying that, so I'm assuming you was talking to my guest. So elaborate on that. Change your mind about what? Hey, what he say? He says our journeys are different.
I mean, I was just said that our journey is different from back
Yeah,
then up to now. But we,
right,
as black people, listen, we as black people, this is the thing. Everybody say, well, we need to be open-minded. Everybody say we need this. No, black people have to have an agenda and stick with that agenda. Period. Everybody else do.
right,
The white agenda don't change. Oriental agenda don't change. The average agenda don't change. But they always want black people to change their agenda. Why we
right,
have to change our agenda to satisfy other people?
right. You're right. I got that. So I do want to backtrack to that question that you said you want to get back to, though. I said, do you think that reparations are necessary to address the economic inequalities that continue to affect black communities?
I think you know, if the government going to give us reformation, I don't want black people or people to say, well, we need to make sure these people get money. They don't waste their money. That's their money.
Right.
But on the flip side of that, financial literacy will be the key if we was to get our real reparation. But if somebody get their money and waste it, that's on them. But I just think that I don't think that if we're owed reparation, we shouldn't say, well, we're going to give you reparation, but you got to put it back in your neighborhood. People should be allowed to do with their money because by law, our community is supposed to be treated just as equally as other communities. So why are you going to give me $100,000 and tell me I need to put that in something that I really don't even have an interest in? But then you have people that might say, hey, we're going to put money together and build. I'm with that. But at the end of the day, if we were treated fairly and we got our share of the pot, we wouldn't even have to say, you feel me? Our reparation is our money is our money.
Right. Now, so for me to add to that, right, do I think that reparations are necessary, right, to address the inequalities that continue to affect black communities? I mean, of course, right? Of course. Because, like, America, we like to, well, I ain't gonna say we, but in America, they like to say that, like, the reparations was already there, right? But, like, to me, that's lunacy, right? Like, I think, the government and certain people, they say the necessary things to sound politically correct, right? But I don't think we ever got our just due. We never got those reparations. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, we did get reparations. They got the reparations,
Lord,
but after they killed Lincoln, they got reparations. But after they killed Lincoln, whoever the president was after Lincoln, he went back down. It started in South Carolina, all the way down to Georgia or Florida. I think it was like 400,000, 40,000 acres of land. They went, the president, whoever stepped in for Lincoln went back in and took the land back from the slaves they got the 40 acres in the middle. So they got reparations. It's just that he went back and took it back.
Right. So at this point, reparations are a fairy tale. There is not enough money to fix or repair what has been done to black people. I mean, I agree with that, but a lot of things can change, right? Since we talk about moving in the right direction, like it's one of those things. Honestly, I don't think it's ever going to resolve itself. Like I don't think it's ever going to not be prejudice or racism. I just don't believe that. But it started with the people, man. The people.
Say that again. You don't think what about prejudice or racism?
I don't think it's ever going to be a time where it doesn't exist.
Right.
So I'm assuming Allison looked up the president that followed that came after Lincoln, Andrew Jackson. So okay. My next question is this.
So let me say this. Let me finish reparation. This is the thing about reparation. If we're owed reparation, if they were to say, hey, we're going to give you reparations, I don't think that, because I don't read stuff for saying, well, we need to have this system in place if we get reparation. I think if we get our reparation, let people do what they want to do with their money, period. It's their money. I mean, because just like this, if that's the case, when you get your paycheck every week, you take your paycheck and say, I'm gonna go downtown and build a building. No, it's your money. But and I'm just saying that to be kind of smart, but the government, once again, before we get off of that, if the government did what they were supposed to do and help our community, we wouldn't have all them white cops in there. Our neighborhood wouldn't be overflooded with drugs, and all them businesses there right now would not be it would not be Oriental, not be Arab, not be Africans, and not be anybody that's not black.
Right.
If the government did what they were supposed to, if the government treated us fairly.
Right. Okay. So the next question is this: what impact does racism have on criminal justice when it comes to blacks or the black community?
Repeat that.
You said repeat that?
Yeah.
So what impact does racism have on criminal justice when it comes to blacks or the black community?
Well, I will keep this short, but if how is it that we're 40% of the inmates in jail, but we only 13% of the population, or something like that? Somebody can correct me on the numbers. And white people are 40% of the population, or 50% of the population, but they have the less amount of people in jail. But they have the most amount of people on probation.
Yeah, I know. And it's see, I see where you're trying to go with that, right? And I will touch on that a little bit more, like, right? Because I already had that in my little outline to go over. But yeah, it's crazy. Just to add a little tidbit of what's to come. Like, I don't know about you, but I grew up hearing that, like, on the free world is a white man's world, and the prisons and jails is a black man's world, right? And as crazy as that sounds, like you were saying with the math, right? Statistically, black people are the ones that's in jails. Like we overpopulate the judicial system, which is insane, right? So it's like, with white people or other people of that's non-black, they can commit the same crime and they just getting less time, or they're not getting no time at all.
Exactly.
Which is crazy. What it says? Put this comment: black in the USA, 14.4%.
Right. But you understand where I'm coming from, though, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
But that, like I said, what did I say? 13%? And she said,
yeah.
Right. So what did that tell you?
Yeah. And it's crazy. And Richard said it starts with the education system by dumbing down inner city schools, by depriving them of resources. It will always help feed into our jail system. That's correct. And we will talk about the education system. But yeah, and it's criminal, right? So the government is criminal. The system in the United States is criminal. Like, it's crazy. And a lot of people, they refuse to see it for what it is. All right, so there we go, right there. So 14.4% in the U.S., with 32% of black people incarcerated.
It's more than that.
Yeah, I think it's more than that, but I mean, I'm assuming she looked it up.
But it's like it's for the black male. For the black male, it's 40+%.
Yeah, I think so, but I haven't looked up the math on that. But
I'm glad she's putting up these numbers, because that's helping people. That's getting people to understand what's going on. So we talk about the school system. Right?
Yeah.
So this is my take on, and I'm glad Richard said brought that up about the school and the prison thing. Look, we as a community have to pull ourselves up by the bootstrap and stop asking a system that doesn't want to educate us to educate us. Now, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard starting out to say, hey, man, we have to come together as a community. We got these teachers, we got these educators, and they're just going to have to say, you know what, we're going to create all these, like the Black Panther Party. We're going to just offer all these programs, and we're going to do this after we get on working, or because even if I got a job somewhere else, I got an education degree, we're going to have to flood our community with ways to put these young brothers and sisters in a position to want to be educated. And then what we have to do is, and it's going to be tough, we have to recruit young brothers and sisters to go out here in these streets and recruit other young brothers and sisters to be part of this new movement.
Right.
Because old people, us older people, we we are so comfortable in our skin, even when it comes to politics. If your city is predominantly black, and if you got a predominantly all white school board, what that telling you about the people, the brothers and sisters from the community? You feel me?
Right.
Now we're not taking to initiative because you can get them out, but you gotta go in with a strong hand, and you gotta vote to get them out, because everything's about the voting. But if we don't go out there and vote, and so as we put the right young brothers and sisters in the place that really have a love for about education and communicating, that's when shit gonna start.
Right. Now, Richard said school systems are slightly segregating our schools to ensure they target the right races.
Okay, so you know about magnet schools, right?
Not too much, no.
Okay, so this is the thing, and I'm kind of like everything I'm doing right now. People can look it up. I'm just trying to educate people. Magnet schools was put in place for kids in the black community that was, let's just say, had better test scores and grade scores, and they said, listen, we're going to put you in this program to prepare you for college.
Right.
So what happened was the system got smart and said, you know what? They giving all these black schools, all these schools, all this money. We need to come up with a program. So they came up with the charter schools. See what I'm saying? And then what happened was that even in Guilford County right now, they start taking money from the magnet schools and start putting it in, giving it to the charter schools. Now the magnet was supposed to be in the school to help these young brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? Now it's back to square one. And now all the charter schools taking all the money and putting it into their program. And now the magnet schools are hurting, and the public schools are hurting even more.
Right. So, all right, let me ask you this. Do you think that Black Americans are still struggling to have civil rights?
Well, I put it to you like this, brother. You know, they just cried about DEI. Right. Now, I'm going to break this down to people. I want them to listen. They just cried about DEI. 76% of white women benefited from DEI.
Right.
4% of black women benefited from DEI. Now, but I'm going to get to what you're saying. But the thing of it is, how can white people be in minority? And DEI, how are white women a minority? And they the majority.
Yeah,
so even with them doing away with DEI, them 76% white people that benefited from DEI, they still gonna keep their positions.
Right. See, I'm not educated enough to speak about the DEI, but I have been hearing about it lately.
I'm just basing it on the numbers.
Right.
Now, when we talking about civil rights. So what they're trying to do now, they're trying to do away with the 1964 Civil Rights Act, where saying that, you feel what I'm saying?
Trump.
So what I did was I wrote an article saying it's an open letter I wrote to the President of Black Congress. I said, listen, y'all need to be on this right now. Y'all need to be getting ready to take these people to court. Y'all need to do everything that you need to do, because once they do away with that Civil Rights Act, that means these people can do whatever they want, however they want, and do whatever they want. People died for that.
Yeah, and it's gonna be hard for the Black community, man. It's gonna be hard for us. It's gonna be hell, man. It's gonna be damn near impossible to survive out here if they do away with that, right?
So DEI don't really mean shit to me. Everything means what means to me is the 1964 Civil Rights Act, the 5th Amendment and the 14th Amendment. That's what that. And this is the thing. People be educated again. So when they wrote the first Constitution, right, they said all men were created equal, whether it was a bunch of white men in there or whatever. So once they start including black people in that, they said all men or all people was created equal, right? Then they did the 1964 Act and said black people got rights. So if all men was created equal, why are you passing the bill saying that now we got rights? You been passed that.
Right. You're right. Now you see what she put up there. She said Black and Hispanic employees are more likely to experience higher unemployment rates than white and Asian employees.
Oh well, we didn't do that.
Yeah, we do. But I'm glad she added it though, because it's just it contributes to the context of the conversation. Like it's insane when you think about it. Like, why is that? You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy. That lets you know that prejudice bias and racism is still alive, and it shouldn't be that way, right? Like the world will be a better place if we just do away with all that, right? And like you were saying, we're supposed to be created equal, but unfortunately, we're not, or at least we're not looked at as being equal, right? Like it's this fear within the black community, which I don't understand. Like white people, they just feared the black man.
Well,
It is what it is.
it's like this. If if you're the majority, which is white people, and you see people like us who have been through everything you can possibly throw at us, from slavery to prison to senseless murders, and we're still here and we're still surviving, wouldn't you consider us? Wouldn't you be afraid of us too?
I mean,
I
I,
mean,
I
you have to be, because you can't
mm.
exterminate us. Because
But see,
the only reason why we're not being deported, because they can't deport us. And I'm getting ready to give people another history lesson here, and I like people fact checking me. There's only really two naturalized citizens in America besides the Indians: black people and white people. Naturalized citizens.
right.
From when they wrote the book back in the day, when they included us, there was only white people could have sent themselves naturalized citizens. Then when they passed the bill to make us naturalized citizens, the
Right.
Indians always been so. Based on the history, that's why they can't get rid of us.
Right. 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 All right. I got that. Uh, do you think that the complexities of black culture hinders us when it comes to justice and equality?
Now, tell me. I mean, tell me what complexity you mean, like the differences.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, ask me that question again.
Okay. I said, do you think that the complexities of black culture hinders us when it comes to justice and equality?
Well, I don't think the complexity of our culture does. I just think racism does.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because they our culture. Listen, you you can go on TV right now. All you hear is rap. You go out and see how people dress. These companies, they don't give clothes to white people to wear. They give clothes to rappers and people in the hood to wear, because if we make it popular, it's going to be popular with everybody.
Right.
I remember when Rakim came out, we didn't know anything. People didn't know anything about Carhartt. People that worked knew about Carhartt. You know what I mean? But when Rakim
Right.
came out with the Carhartt hat, the Carhartt jacket, and the Carhartt pants, you know what I mean? All of a sudden, what everybody started wearing? So all the brothers and
Right.
sisters, then Carhartt sales went out the roof.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So our culture and our creative is one of the things that's still keeping us relevant.
Right. I mean, it keeps us relevant. Well, I was all right, so let me not say that. I was about to say it keeps us relevant in the black community, but not necessarily. Because so another fun fact is this: white people criticize blacks and black culture, the rap music, and all this, but they benefit the most by our culture.
That's what I
You
say.
know what I'm saying?
That's
So
what
so
that's
like
what makes us
when it comes
relevant.
to like when the music, they that's a business for them. They got a financial gain from the very thing they hate.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when you think about it, that's crazy. That's
So
crazy. They hate it so much, but they capitalize on it.
and let me tell you something. We don't. I'm trying to think. One year, I can't remember what year it was. George Michael's won R&B album of the year. Now I can't
Mm.
remember who he was up against, and people was pissed because he won R&B album of the year and he wasn't R&B. So now
Right.
look down 10, 15, 20 years down the road, who 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 are our R&B people that we can bring up right now other than white people that's singing R&B shit?
All right, ask me that question again.
Other than white people doing our R&B, who can we really connect with when we talk about R&B right now?
I mean, I don't follow what you're saying.
What I'm saying is, when we talked R&B back in the day, we talk about James Brown, Aretha Franklin, Michael Jackson, Marvin Gaye. So we talk about R&B today. Who can we really say that's an R&B artist? That's black. That's pushing that agenda. To pushing the black R&B agenda. They pushing the white R&B agenda, but I'm talking about the black R&B agenda.
I mean, it's hard to answer that because it's so. All right, this is the thing. So a lot of black people, that's somebody these days. They conform. So that's why I say it's hard to answer that question, because I would say Beyonce. That's what I was gonna say at first, but then she came out with the country album, and then it's more. She's conforming more and more.
What I'm saying is this: I could give you a list of R&B people off the top of my head: Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, Aretha Franklin, Gladys Knight, Patti LaBelle, Luther Vandross. I can just give you a list of these people when I grew up, but we can't do that right now.
Right.
But white people can do it. They'll give you a list of all these white people that's doing our R&B.
So I wouldn't call a white artist that's singing. I wouldn't call that R&B. It's not rhythm and blues, right? That's when we step into the realm of pop, right? Pop music.
No. Michael Jackson, even though he was R&B, he was pop and R&B. But I'm just saying, right now today, do we have any black R&B artists that we can connect with? That ain't old school. And they probably the idea, but that's on the radio consistently.
I mean, it's plenty of them. I mean, when you say connect in what way?
When you listen to 97 point, are you from North Carolina?
I used to live in North Carolina, but I'm in Jersey.
When you listen to like an R&B station, how much new stuff do you really hear on that R&B station? Like new artists.
I mean, this is the thing. I listen to New York and Philly stations so a lot.
Well, WDAS. You listen to DAS, Philly?
No. I listen to Power 99.
Okay, so even on Power 99, how much new artists do you really hear?
I like it. That's what I'm saying. But you talk about R&B. So listen, you listen. You still got Chris Brown coming out with music. You still got Usher coming out with new. You know what I'm saying? That's R&B.
But I'm just saying, you don't have a lot like we used to have, and they don't even really consider. And they don't even really consider them R&B no more.
So this is the thing. So if you're trying to compare it to back then, I mean, it was more back then. Yes, I will agree with that. In the 90s, there was a lot more artists, a lot more groups than there is now. But see, this is the thing. The times has changed, just like anything else. Everything changes with time, right? Like, so now it's different. Back then, we used to have Baby making music. We had the breakup music, all this. Now everything is sexualized.
Well, see, and that's
right. So to make it now, you have to get to that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but see, what they did was they changed, and I'm glad you said that. They changed the framework of the black community. They went from doing hip hop. I mean, they went from doing R&B. I mean, regular dance music to a culture now. Everything in our culture now is about rap and violence and sex. So we're not connected with our R&B roots no more.
Right.
We got them out there because I listen to a lot of independent channels. Man, there's some great singers right there. But on the surface, this is what they did to us, and we fell for the okie doke.
Now, see, that's the thing. I'm gonna ask you this: you keep saying what they did to us. You think they did this, or it's our choice as artists? You think? Because I would say it's our choice, right? Because it's a lot of times I know a lot of local artists around here, like so we like sponges, right? Just like babies, right? Babies, kids, they like sponges, right? We replicate what we see, right? Our people, places, and things. So I think they were all right. This is what's in right now. If they can do it and they can make it, why can't I do it? And I think a lot of it is decision making. I think it's people's choice. I don't think this is like white America or white people that's saying this is what I want you to push out there.
You better do your homework, brother. Ask an artist. I didn't sat down and talked to the artist. Listen, okay, it's like this. Puffy is the prime example of why I'm proving you wrong right now. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because what these artists have to go through just to get something out is being relevant. It's being brought to America's attention. See what I'm saying? So it's not like it's okay. I even take you further than that. Michael Jackson owned half of Sony. Michael Jackson couldn't even put out music because Sony wouldn't let him. This is Michael Jackson. He owned half of Sony. So if I own half of Sony, how are you going to tell me when I can and can't put out music? What I'm telling you is the industry dictates to black people on how we're going to present our music to black people. And that's why rap, no matter as grungy as rap is and how bad is shit looking right now, we're still pushing that agenda. Sex, violence. It's like 50 and Rick Ross, why are these rich ass old people? How can you supposed to be rich, older than me, 55, 60 something years old, and you still beefing? What do you beef? Why are you beefing? Because the media has told them y'all need to beef if y'all want to stay relevant.
I mean, it's a possibility, man. I don't know.
It's true. That's the facts of the game. If you're beefing that hard, this is the thing. If you're beefing that hard, and y'all at these different places, y'all can meet up anytime and square it off. Why ain't they meet it up yet and fought it out?
Right. See? I got you. All right. So I want to say this. The legacy of the Jim Crow laws has made it so hard for us as blacks to get good housing or good jobs. And for those of you who are not familiar with, the Jim Crow laws and what they were, right? They were laws that enforced segregation and maintained white supremacy, right? I just want to put that out there because I know a lot of people are not familiar with the Jim Crow laws were. So let me ask you this. What is black identity to you?
Black identity to me is really, when I say this, I want people don't take it the wrong way. Black identity to me is we as black people have to understand our place. We have to understand who we dealing with. We have to understand our surroundings, and we have to understand when it's time for us to throw our hands up and say, "I'm not even dealing with this bullshit no more," because I know I see where their heads is at. You feel what I'm saying? And I mean we need to understand the place. I'm not saying yes sir, boss, no sir. There's come a time when we as black people have to say, you know what? I'm not even dealing with this shit at all.
Right.
I got to start from scratch. That's fine, but we can't put ourselves in a position where we have to let people think that they control everything about us, and some of us do.
Right, and I think a lot of that has to do with ego.
Yeah.
Right. So in the black community, in the household, what'd you say?
I'm not going to say it. Yeah, you're right, because I have the ego. Because the first thing they can say is, and Malcolm said this one time, he said, I got the biggest house on the block. I stay over here in this neighborhood. I stay over here in this neighborhood. But they still don't care about you. You're still black to them. You're still a threat to them.
Right. And this is the thing. Like I said, in the black households, and majority of them, right? It's the way our fathers or our mothers as well teach our kids, right? To be a certain way. Right. And it teaches us to be egotistic or to think that we're superior or to put ourselves higher than, or we teach our kids we're not equal and stay away from this person or this type of person. So the more we hear it, the more we grow with that same mindset. Right. And we just really a detriment to ourselves. Right. So a lot of this goes from the household. So a lot of these things in the community, in the black community, that we want fixed, we got to first start changing as parents.
We started that in the beginning. Yeah, this white girl. I wish I could pull this thing up. Did they interview this sister? She said, this is what's funny. She said, I think we happy. I think poor people are happy living in poor community because they play off of that. And I didn't know what she meant. She said, because if you look at these brothers and sisters in these poor neighborhoods, they happy to be gun banging and doing this and that and living the way they living.
Right. And I got something. I got something for that a little bit later, man. But like I said earlier, when I said I was going to circle back to something, right? Like, we often hear the term "white America," right? But why is that when the Pledge of Allegiance tell us that we're supposed to be united, right? How we talk about united we stand if we're not really united. We're not looked at as being united. We're not looked at as being equal. You know what I'm saying?
And you got to remember when they did that allegiance, when they made that flag, black people wasn't in the room.
Okay, I get that, but let's go back to the Colin Kaepernick thing when he took a kneel. All these white people looked at him like he was a piece of shit. And the crazy thing is, he was 50-50. His mother was white, and they still treated him like garbage, right? And the thing is, if you do the history, or if anybody cared to do the history, he took a knee, right? Not to disrespect the flag or America. He took a knee, right? When he first started doing it, he took that knee because in the war, that's what you did when you have a fallen soldier. Right, and so around there, that's where we had all this police brutality shit, and he was a activist as well. He was out there in communities preaching that, saying this is something need to change. This ain't right. This is not right. So when he first started taking the knee, it was for that reason. It was not to spit on the American flag or disrespect America. And then once he started getting this cruelty and blackballed, that's when it stood for a little bit more than that. Because we talk about united we stand, but white people don't look at black people as equals. So how can we be united? How can we stand united if you said you up here and we down here? It's a flaw in the system. So you want me to salute to the flag, you want me to honor that flag, but you don't honor me as a man. That makes no sense. I had conversations with a lot of white people, right, that I was close with, and they got so mad, they face started turning red, purple, and I'm like, how you get so mad? When I'm speaking is facts. You can look it up yourself. Anybody with common sense will understand what I'm saying. You want me to stand for the flag, but we're not united. We're not treated as equal, right? We can go through the whole Pledge of Allegiance and then look at the black community. It doesn't stand for us.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
I don't even really like. It's like with me. I stopped standing up and saluting the flag when this brother killed my brother and he didn't go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a black dude that killed him, but he didn't go to jail. So I can't represent anything that doesn't represents me in a way of justice. But far as this flag, this is my thing about the flag, brother. If you want to stand for the flag, you can stand for the flag. If you want to don't stand for the flag, I don't care. But the thing that hurt Kaepernick was he did it during a time when there was a lot of shit going on. And I'm not saying and what people and another thing people don't know, Kaepernick said he was going to do something else before that, but he said a guy that was in the war suggested that he take a knee, and it was a white guy. He said.
That's what I'm saying. Right. That's where he first started doing it.
But what people,
it's a represent fallen soldier, and that time when you said a lot was going on, at that time it was a lot of police brutality where a white cop killed an unarmed black man or a black woman. So that's what was going on. It was a lot of that going on, and he took the need to honor the fallen people.
So look at it like this. Let's look at it like this. So we had this brother. Now we had this brother get killed by a white cop, right?
Mm-hmm.
He on national. Listen to what I'm saying now. No matter what he did it for, only thing white people got in the back of their head, only thing media people had in their head was this brother got shot, and he's taking a knee and protested that brother got shot. So now what these white people were saying, you just spit in our face, and you going to pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bottom, That's what happened. I mean that's the reality of it. You
right.
feel what I'm saying? That's the reality of him and what he did. Was it right? It was right to him. Was it right to them? No. But the reality of it was when they didn't care about the damn thing for the fallen soldiers. They didn't care about this. Only thing they know was they had a black man on national TV kneeling because in the back of their mind they think he knelt because a white cop killed the black guy. Now somebody
now before I go to this next question, I want to say this. I think it's crazy. I know a lot of black people I know, when you look at it like if you mix with black, then you're a black man, right? If it's like 50-50, or some people would say that if the father is black, then you black, right? But this is the thing. Well, if you 50% white, 50% black, why does white America automatically say, "Oh, you black"? They don't even consider the white that's in you.
Because this is people this is what people got to understand about us. our melanin, I think I'm saying the word right, whatever we pass on is so strong, you're going to come out dark skin or whatever, no matter if you light skin or whatever. So if your hair nappy and you got any features of an African American, whether you mixed or not, they're going to look at you like you black. It don't matter. It don't matter if the thing says 50-50 because it's not 50-50. Because if it was 50-50, I don't think you feel me?
I got three biracial kids, and they don't have the nappy hair, none of that. They don't, you know what I'm saying?
Are they white looking?
More in comparison to black, yes.
But no. I'm not asking you that because I don't want to try to get like personal. Are they white looking? Do they look like white kids?
Yes. Especially my daughter.
Now, do they know who their parent is?
Yes.
They know their parent what color?
Right.
That's all that matters to them.
But what I'm saying is I think it's crazy how like white America just classify you as just being black right off, and they don't even give it a thought that, oh yeah, you white too. Even if you have the appearance of white, they like, nah, it ain't pure, it ain't right.
There you go.
And that goes back to the prejudice and the racism. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But like I told you earlier, I don't really, like I said, my nephew educated me on that, so I don't even really try to get into the conversation with mixed relationships. I let people do what they do.
Right. I got you. All right, so America is supposed to be about diversity and inclusion, right? So why do people say white America?
Because America is 50%, because the majority of people in Americans is white.
I get it, but we can't. Americans in America, we can't sit there and preach inclusion and diversity if that's not what you stand for, right? So that's a contradiction. You say it because why? It sounds politically correct.
The only reason why Target and Walmart and Amazon and all these companies fell into the DEI thing because the government gave them money. So just soon as government did away with the DEI, they did away with the black products. And what people got to understand, and I said this earlier, what people have to understand about diversity, equity, and inclusion, black people need to understand this. We need to understand that we're going to fight wholeheartedly. We need to fight wholeheartedly for what we believe is ours. Stop trying to compare yourself or say that I'm better than this person, and you probably are better than that person. But I don't think, and I could be saying something, I don't think that we should be killing ourselves to make other people happy so we can say we made it.
Right.
Because you feel what I'm saying? I agree with that. We don't have to say, hey, I'm the president of this country because this company. You president of that company because you work to be there. That's why you got it. But if you don't get it, and you know why you're not going to get it, just strive and do your best at what you're great at.
Right. So let me ask you this: for those that's like to say white America, right? Are they saying that the only cultural identity is white?
No, just like when we say Black America. I mean, they're just relating to their culture. I don't have a problem with that. There's something different going around. That's something different. If the Klan going around say white power kill niggers or white power kill somebody, that's different. But if a white person came up to me and said, hey, I'm white, I love my culture, I'm white, I don't have a problem with that. The problem I have with this, if you hang around white people,
right,
and when white people start saying the N-word around you, you get offended. Don't get offended. Because you open the door for them to say that, because that's all you say all day, every day, and that's your friend.
Yeah. Okay. See. We can go through. Oh my God, I really don't want to go down that rabbit hole with that. But because that's a tough one, right? Because I've heard that a lot. But first of all, it's different. It's different. It's when we talk about cultural things, right? Like that word, we modified it to where it's not what it used to be. When I say modified, it went from a nigger to a nigga, two different things. Time out. Because now, like I said, I like to conversate, I like to educate, and I like to entertain. You just say you like to educate as well. So I'm gonna give it a history lesson too. This is the thing. We modified that, so that is owned by us. That is for us. For a white person to say this, it's the utmost disrespect. Right now, when I say I was going to educate, this is the thing. I often tell people this. I hate when white people sit there and try to convince a black man or a black woman that nigger just means ignorant. It does not. And let me break this down for you. Back in the day, it was a thing called ignorant. So why, when white people, right, associate with a black person, they call him a nigger lover and not a nigger. That alone allows you. I mean, that alone lets you know that that word does not mean ignorant. For you to sit there and go, this white man is talking to this black person. You call him a nigger lover and not a nigger. If nigger meant ignorant, one, you could just call him ignorant, but you didn't use that word. And two, like I said, it's white ignorant people, but you call him a nigger lover and not a nigger. So if it meant ignorant, why didn't you call that white man a nigger?
Well, that
Merriam-Webster is a white man that put that in the dictionary to make it socially acceptable. Merriam-Webster was racist.
Okay. Only thing I'm saying is this: whatever, if niggas say ignorant person, if that's what it says. So
in the dictionary, yes.
Right, but that was their reference because of their hate for us. And
that's my point exactly. But this is my thing. Did you miss what I said though? If it meant ignorant, why didn't you call white people niggers? You call them nigger lovers. I mean, so what you saying? Yeah.
It's like, so if you wrote a book and you talking about, let's just say somebody's a wife beater. Right. If you write a book and you say this black guy always beats his wife, you know, and you beat your wife, you're not gonna say you beat your wife. You're just gonna throw it off on the black guy. Because that's how you gotta look at stuff. A person ain't gonna relate nothing. A person isn't gonna relate nothing to them if they can throw it off of somebody else.
But what you're saying right now doesn't even make sense. This is just like you're not gonna call any other race a spick, right? That's just for the Spanish. You're not gonna call a white person that, black person that, Jewish. You're just not gonna do it because it's not derogatory to no other race. It's because it's geared to a certain race. So yeah, you can put words in the dictionary all you want to cover it up because that's all it is. It's a cover up.
Is nigger and nigga the same thing?
No.
Let me say this. If a person called me a nigger or a nigga, to me, that's the same thing because you just changing the word. That's all you doing. It still means the same thing to me.
See, I'm gonna go as far as saying you brainwashed then. Because like I said, we modified it for us. Right? It's like sometimes you gotta smile through the pain, right? You heard that phrase before, people smile through the pain. So we had to.
Why do you want to modify something that we shouldn't be using anyway?
Bruh. Like I said, you said that we shouldn't use anyways. It really listen. It's not using.
Why are we trying to modify something that a word that we should not be using anyway? Why should we modify it to make people happy?
Well, if it's modified, therefore you're not using the same word.
Oh, we need to eliminate anything got to do with nigga, anything got to do with NIGG. We need to eliminate from our conversation.
I got you, bro. I got you. I'm just saying. I am just saying. So you don't never use that word?
We all do at times.
All right, then. So you're not against it. So
just because we use that word, I said we all do at times, but I make it. Listen, you can talk to anybody that know me. They will say you rarely hear Brother Syid call somebody a nigger or out their face. Very rare. Right. Because me being a black nationalist and me being pro-black, if I say stuff like this to my brothers and sisters, that's going against everything that I stand for. And I'm not saying it's like I know preachers, and every now and then they might cuss, but that don't mean that they that they do it all the time. That don't mean that they sinning. That shit happens. So we should eliminate that nigga out of our whole vocabulary.
I mean, like I said, that's a hot topic no matter where you go.
So,
But
are you happy? So let's just say you walking through the mall, then you see a
right.
white guy riding around the mall with somebody saying nigga this, nigga that, and stuff. So do you like so? And they do it in their
Yeah.
rap song. They play the rap shit too. So if you
Yeah.
see somebody riding around like that, I mean, what's your take on that?
Listen, first of all, this is my thing. Um, it, like I said, it's one of those tough things. This is the thing. They listen to music, cool, whatever. As far as saying the word, I ain't for that. Now, at this stage, I be wanting to smack fire out of white people that use that word. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, at this stage of my life, I know that for every action is a reaction. For me smacking the dog shit out of somebody, it's going what? They're gonna go to the house and I'm gonna get locked up. And that's what's they gonna do for my image? So
But
I'm not saying I condone it. I'm not saying that I ignore it per se. Like I say my piece, and I have a way about me. Like I say my piece. You might say it when you walk away from me, but you ain't gonna keep saying that shit in my face.
But you'll be happy if they said nigga instead of nigger.
No, I never said that. You a white person? No. That's what I'm saying. They're not just gonna say that shit around me. Right? And if it gets to the point where something's gonna pop off and I feel like I'm gonna fucking choke the living shit out of them, I will have to remove myself from that situation. The younger me would have just fucked them up.
Yeah.
Because it's not cool. Because I don't care how much we modify something. This is my thing. You cannot take away from our history. You cannot take away from the many years of slavery. And it's a derivative. Like I said, it's not the same word, but it's a derivative of that word. So for a white person to say that, given our history, you're wrong.
Right.
Like you really need to jump off a cliff somewhere.
Right. So whenever we're going to move forward, let me ask this question. How do you feel about hip hop right now?
See, it's another conversation topic that I want to talk about on a later episode. But when I think about hip hop right now, I think, listen, I'm all for creative expression. I'm all for what sounds good. But when we zero in and look at the black community, I think that we're just putting ourselves behind the eight ball. I think that we're causing more harm than good, right? I think we're giving all these racist people out here a reason to be racist. You know what I'm trying to say? Because, for instance, black men, right, and these rappers, we degrade our black queens way too much. And we don't. If you can do your history, your research. We're the only culture that degrades our own kind the way we do. You don't hear white people talking about holes and this and that, doing this and doing that, this angle, that angle, this position. We're the only culture that do that. What we're doing to our black queens are demeaning them. You know what I'm saying? We're devaluing them, and that's why I said we're a detriment to our own kind. We're a detriment to our community.
But are they helping with the stuff that they? But are they helping with the rap? How they portray themselves in rap? Are they helping?
No. Because especially when they go out and have kids. Now
I'm talking about the female rappers. Their lyrics are just as explicit, and plus their explicit lyrics goes with their attire. So are they? They're not helping.
You're right. And like I said, when we start talking about the black on black relationships, right? I'm gonna touch on that a little bit more. And like I said, I got so much material, so many questions. So we definitely gonna have a part two, right? Because I'm keeping my eye on the time as we speak. But I'm gonna get through as much as I can. But like, black women are not helping themselves either. But I'm gonna say this. I think as far as the women, a lot of it comes from the absenteeism of the father figure in their life. This goes back to what I said earlier about
the women or the men. You talk about the women having an absentee father, or the men having an absentee
father? The women.
Okay.
It's a disconnect in the household, and that's why I was saying earlier. Before we can worry about fixing all these cultural indifferences, we first got to start with it in the household, in the black community.
Exactly.
And that's something that we've been at war with ourselves for a long time, right? So the joke is really on us. So I commend any black father, any black mother that's staying on business and they take care of their kids to their utmost potential, right? Yeah. But the truth of the matter is this: a majority, right? And I know a lot of black men hate when I say this. My older brother, he hate when I say it. It's just truth. You can research it. You can go to the library and research it. You can Google it. It doesn't matter where you go for your research. Statistically, black fathers are absent from the household. We just don't stick around like that, right? And a lot of that comes from the upbringing. And then, like, the more we hear things, you know what I'm saying? Like, all right, for instance, now we don't live in a time where it's slavery. It might be like a modern days type of slavery, but not slavery as it used to be, right? So if we push that agenda to our kids and say, "Oh, white people this, white people this, don't trust white people," guess what? The more they hear it, the more they're gonna have it in their head. Now, when they see a white person, they already got this preconceived notion. So it's okay to teach the history, but it's equally important to teach them that you don't have to live in those times because we no longer live in those times.
I don't think these kids of today, even the inner city youth kids, even the white kids of today, I don't think their focus is more on the black-white issue. Let me finish.
Okay.
I think that these young people today, their focus is everybody's issue.
No, I'm gonna have to say you wrong. Because look, when white people don't get their way, these young kids.
You didn't hear what I said? No,
I heard what you said.
Was this woke community? Their whole thing is they feel as though everybody is against them, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because all people do is preach about this unruly woke community. So once and they're young, so that get in their head. We shouldn't be preaching about these young brothers and sisters, this and that, because we're the ones who put them in that position because we catered to all their needs from when they was babies.
Right.
Them catered to them, and we catered to them. Now they're at a point in their life where it is. I mean, I don't care. These kids, like, they don't care if they don't have nothing. They know how to still survive.
Right.
So their whole attitude right now is like, what the hell can you do for me? Or what can you say? What can you say to me?
I get it. But as long as racism is,
it's a hard pill to swallow now.
I get it. But as long as racism is still alive, man, that's always gonna be a focal point. You know, I listen, I know, like, for instance, my son, right, he's 10 now, right? But he had an issue in school. The white kids, they act like they live in them times, calling him monkeys and shit like that. You know what I'm trying to say? Where are they getting it from? So to say that they don't focus on that, that's bullshit. At a young age, it's still relevant to them.
What I'm saying is this: we still got that. I said, but when these kids get to a certain age, the teenage age, that's the woke age is the teenagers on up. That's what we talking about.
Right.
Their whole and we still got the black and white shit, but overall, these young woke kids got a whole new different attitude in the conversation than we had back then. They hard. Right. They hard. We're trying to say it's hard for us to get through to them, but it's hard for us to understand their place and their plight, and we put them in that position to do what they're doing because we let them get away with so much, and we giving them so much right now.
Right.
That's it. There's no way that and my grandkids, even my son, there's no way a person should take a phone from a kid and he kills her or he's screaming and they going crazy because they don't have their phone. So we allow them to be attached to something that controls their whole life. And we allow that.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, see, you know, that's another topic about how, you know, technology is running the world, and it's sad, right? Like kids these days, they lack the basic skill set, right? Like it's crazy. You can ask them to do the smallest thing, and they be like, "What's that?" or "How do you do that?" Right? The same basic tools that's been around for generations. That was like.
Whose fault is that?
I say that.
You said it.
You said whose fault is that?
You said it earlier. It's the mom and the dad's fault. It's the home.
Well, okay, it is.
When my grandkids come over here, they already understand what the deal is with their grandma. I let her deal with the women. Now, if I
Right.
gotta get upset and raise my voice, but she deals with the women. One of them is 12 and one of them 7, but they don't sit here all day and on a damn iPad and this and that. Then that she tell them quick that ain't happening.
Right.
They don't have no phone. We got a house. I got a cell phone. My wife got a cell phone. We got a home cell phone, and I got a flip phone, so they can't surf the phone. So when my wife shut it down, she shut it down. She tell them go
Right.
do work, even if they have to go sit out on the front porch or in the backyard. She don't give a shit. But she tells them, you are not going to sit here all day and become part of this community that you can't even communicate with your own mom and dad and your mom, your granddad and your grandma.
Yeah,
But
see, that's good shit.
they'll communicate with you when you go to Walmart or you go somewhere they think they're getting something.
Yeah. Yeah, see that's good shit, man. Because a lot of people, like I said, they content with letting their kids just have that social media nonstop. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, so when you say your wife would be like, go read a book, we should be doing that. Like, not just in the black community, all parents,
Every parent,
no matter what your ethnic background is. You know what I'm saying? Like I said this on a previous podcast, right? Like, how many parents are putting books or laptops or anything educational on that Christmas tree or on their birthdays, giving them something that they're going to benefit mentally from. You know what I'm saying? Like, increase their intellect. Like, we're just not doing that. Mm-hmm. And it's like putting a Band-Aid on a wound. It's pacifying the kids. Oh, you're going to leave me alone if I give you this? Okay, here, take this PS5. A week later, oh, take this Xbox.
Right. Yeah.
You're making them robots, and it's like they're not going to learn like that.
And so, yeah, and see, the best thing about what me and my wife, even with my son, I mean, he had his little toys, but he understood the game plan. He knew the playbook front and back. You see what I'm saying? He knew the playbook front and back. So when you come home, this is the plan. Yes, you can do this, but nah, you ain't gonna be in jail. Because matter of fact, why you got your door shut all fucking day? Open your damn door.
Right. Yeah. It's good to teach that because kids these days they detach from their parents, they detach from the world, and it's crazy. Now, like, I want to say this though. Earlier when I was talking about the cultural identities, right? America is made up of so many different races and ethnic backgrounds, right? So, does that mean that it's made up of multiple cultural identities, right? That's what I was getting at when I asked you about cultural identity before.
Because we're a melting pot. I mean, it's like this is
a melanin pot.
Melting, MELT.
Mel. Yeah.
This is the beauty of America. If I give America one thing, this is sorry about that. Shit. Sorry about that, brother. My damn camera keep falling. This is the beauty of America. People are allowed to come here and express who they are.
Right.
Whether you black, white, Spanish, whether you in this group, this rap. So culturally, that's the beauty of it. Was once the beauty of America. Now they're trying to control how we, as a culture, as a race, or as a community, they're trying to control how we express ourselves. But the beauty of this country is that they allow us to be who we are as a community, whether it's good or bad. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
So when we talk about culture, because when we talk about cultural identity, everybody here, we still identify with our community. We still identify with our culture, and we have to identify, with our race, because it's like every community got their own way of doing things. The white community got their way of doing things. We got our way of doing things. So when we go to these other communities and visit these communities, some people don't want us in their communities because they feel that we're outsider. But then when they get to know us and come to our community, they understand that they behind they understand that we more advanced than they are, because of our creativeness. They don't understand, and they be like, man, how these people pull this shit off? And they ain't got nothing, and we sitting over here and we got all this, and we can't do it.
Right.
When we talk about creative differences, that's what separates us from everybody else.
So, so why do we hear so many stories about police brutality, right? And how are so many of these officers, these white officers, getting away with killing unarmed black people?
Well, I'm gonna say this. And this is how media. One thing about Trump, when he say fake media, I agree with him on that. Because if people do their homework, and I hope your girl, if she can check it out, white cops kill more white people than they kill black people.
Okay, well,
So,
we talk about. Hold on, I said on black people, like killing for no reason. White people are not killing white people for no reason.
I didn't say that. You said cops.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I said white cops killing unarmed black individuals.
But what I said was white cops kill just as many white people. But this is the difference. Pull it up. But this is the difference. Long as they can focus there, it's like, why would, and we talked about this earlier, why would white people make their own people look bad? So they focus that attention on the black people to make us mad at them and stuff like that.
I don't agree with that one.
What?
I don't agree with that one. Listen, I don't agree with that one, man. Like, first of all, in these kind of instances, right, we mostly hear about it because black people stand up and they protest and they make a big deal of it. They go to the NAACP and all that. White people, right, they rather sweep it under the rug. Be honest with you.
That's what I just said. I said this. White cops kill just as many white people as white cops kill black people. But what I said was this: they're not going to show you every day that a white cop killed a white cop, opposed to a white cop killing a black person, because they're sweeping it under the rug. They don't want people to see how violent they are towards their own community. So what they do is they show all the shit that happened to black people.
See, I don't agree with that though. I just don't agree with that, because all this. So what you just said to me just doesn't make sense, because we hear all about. Hold on. We hear about all these school shootings. They're typically white people, right? And they blast that on TVs. They talk about how all these white parents are killing their kids and say the devil made them do it. That is them pushing that envelope. That's them making themselves look bad. So what you said to me just don't make sense.
Okay,
they all putting that out there.
Listen to what you just said though. You said white people going to school and killing white people, right?
Yeah.
Then you said white people going and killing them kids or something, right? And that what you said, something like that?
Yeah.
But you never said the police. I said the police. They're sweeping. They're not going to show the people that are supposed to protect and serve killing white people as much as they show they're going to kill black people. Because of that.
And I said I don't agree with that. I just don't.
Okay, I mean that's fine, but I'm just saying. You said white people going in these schools and killing people. Then you said the mom or the dad, somebody killing white people like the kids, but you didn't bring up the police. We talking about the police. Period.
Yeah, we talking about the police. And I said, if I say I don't believe that that's happening, right? And I would do the research so when we do part two, I have the numbers in front of me. I just don't believe that white police officers are willy-nilly just killing white people for no reason. I just don't believe that.
Listen, if a white person if a cop kills somebody, I don't care what reason they killed them for, they killed them. They shot him and killed them.
Now, if you say, okay, if you put it like that, then listen. If you put it that way, then yes, you're right. Because why? You just said earlier, black people, right? The percentage is 14.4%. White people it's like what, about 50 something, 57%. So of course, if you look at it like that, right, and you try to look at the margins, it's a difference. It's a big gap right there. So people dying, it's going to be mostly white people.
No, this is what I'm saying. You said that they show cops killing black people, right? Yeah, right. Cops killing black people, right?
Right.
What I'm saying is that white people kill white cops kill white people too, but they're not going to put it on TV like they put on TV with white cops killing black people, because they're trying to protect their image.
I don't know how many times I'd say I just don't believe that.
How many times have you seen white cops on TV kill a white person?
I mean, listen. The one thing about
how many times have you
every day, if you want to put it that way.
You're telling me you watch TV and you see where they show white people that gun down a white man, a white cop, a white cop than gun down a white man.
You hear it. You hear it every day.
No.
And you know, you said.
I said, listen to your boy now. Listen to your boy. I said this. I'm asking you this. How many times have you seen stuff where they said or showed a white cop killing a white person opposed to a white cop killing a black person?
Again, I said every day.
On TV. On TV.
Of course. You know why? You know. I think this what's happening right now. I think you hold on. I think what was happening is this. You know, it's one of those things where you're not looking for an issue that it goes over your head. Like when it's a black person and we put people of color, that's going to stand out more. It's going to resonate with us, right? Now, if it's a white person, it's like the norm to the point where we looking at the TV, but we're not listening. Right? No. We're looking at TV, we're not. I'm telling you, they talk about this shit because guess what? You can't escape this. Even if the government wanted to sweep it on the rug and hide it. What about all the parents and the family members, the wives that's making a big deal of it?
Put that question out there put that question out there. Even when we get done, put that question. I just said, look, I want to ask y'all a question. Do we see more videos of white cops killing white people opposed to black cops killing black people? And them people going to tell you it's going to be a greater number, a greater number saying we see more videos of white cops killing black people. Period.
We shall see. We shall see. But all right. So I'm gonna say this because it's about almost that time.
Okay.
Because I got to jump on somebody else's podcast pretty soon. So another thing that I've heard for many years is that jails and prisons are a black man's world, right? That's kind of what I was telling you earlier. I've always hated that, right? But statistics do tell us that there is a mass incarceration problem with black Americans. Now, speaking about incarcerations, why do you think there's so much black on black crime?
Why is there so much black on black crime?
Because
people are violent towards each other. But okay, no, we're
not talking about people. We talking about blacks. I said, why do you think there's so much black on black crimes?
Because black people are violent towards each other. Who got the highest stat? Okay, so let's just say black on black crime is 90%, right? How high is white on white crime?
I can look it up.
Give me a guess. Guess and give me a number. Just guess.
I'm gonna look right now.
I'm gonna look it up. Guess first.
Keep on.
%80-something.
Hold on. I just Googled it. I'm looking for a percentage. They give you a whole bunch of literature, but I don't see the percentage.
It's 80-something%. White on white crime. White on white crime.
Yeah, see, that's gonna be one of them hard things to find information on because
right here. A staggering 80% of white people. I told you it's 80-something%.
Oh yeah, right here. Look, it says whites killing blacks. It says 2%. It says police killing whites 3%, whites killing whites 16%, blacks killing whites 81%, and police killing blacks 1%, and blacks killing blacks 97%.
Now you know. I tried to tell you. Look at the cops killing whites.
And you missed what I said. See, right now you got a one-track mind. What I said was if the margin, if the ratio between whites and blacks is not even close in America,
Wait a
Of
minute.
course, what you said is good. Come on, bro. You're not listening to what I'm saying. You're not listening.
Are you saying what? This is what you said, and I'm
Okay.
gonna backtrack. You said, ask me about white cops killing black people, right?
When it's unarmed, I said.
I said this, that more white cops kill more white people than than white cops killing black people. I said, but this is what I said. I said, but they don't show it on TV. They show more white cops killing black people on TV than they show white cops killing white people on TV. That's what I said. And then when you look at the numbers, and I can understand about the margin of people. I can understand what you're saying, but they don't show. If it's that many, if the number is that high with white people being here opposed to black people, why aren't they showing as many movies or videos or TikTok shit of white cops killing white people?
Say that. You said on the news. And I said, you asked me how much do I see it? I see it every day.
Nah, okay.
That's the thing. On the news, they don't care who kills who. They don't care who killed who. They put it on there.
Listen, what I'm saying is this. But I want you to put that out there. I just want you to ask do you see what videos do you see the most of? White cops killing black people or white cops killing white people? And you're gonna get a greater number saying white cops killing black people.
And I said it all comes down to what you look for, right? Because just because you're not seeing it, don't mean it's not there. Because it's there. Hold on. Hold on. We can take a group of white people, a group of black people, and put the same telecast on, right? And for black people, they looking at the TV, but they really not looking at it. They're looking at the TV. No, hey, listen. Don't listen. Let's not be one dimensional here. Let's not be one dimensional. Because sometimes you can watch something and you're not really seeing it. Sometimes you can watch something and you're not really hearing it. It's there. It doesn't pop. It don't stand out to you, so you're not going to talk about it. Now, when you see another person of color, right away your eyes say, "Oh shit, you see that? Did you hear that?" But every day on the news, they still talk about white people killing white people. Every day. Every day. You stop. Come on, bro.
All I'm asking you to do is
turn on the news tomorrow. And tell me what you see.
Put that information out there about.
I will. All right, so I'm gonna answer my own question since you've been a little one-dimensional here. Like, you got television. So with the question I asked you, I said, why do you think there's so much black on black crimes, right?
I answered that for you.
Huh?
I answered that for you.
I know. I said I'm gonna answer. I said I'm gonna answer the same question I asked you, right? Because I just want to add to it, right? I think it's more black on black crimes because it's first of all, I think. Again, the household. I think it's a hatred that we have within ourselves because it's not. You said black people just got hatred against our own kind. It's not that they can go out there and cause harm to other white people. But see, we have it in our minds that if I go out there and fuck up this white person, I'm really gonna do a lot of time, right? Because history and statistics show that if a black person kills a black person, it gets pushed under the rug. It's like, oh well, they did us a favor, for lack of better words. When you kill a white person, now they're ready to throw the book at you. And I think that, that's how we teach our kids. So then when we go out here in the world, we like, man, shit, I'm going to kill this nigga because they don't really give a fuck about him anyways. Because you go ahead.
So please, listen, brother, don't think like that, bro.
Why?
Don't think like
that. Let me tell you something. Hold on. Let me tell you something. So I was born in Newark, New Jersey.
Brick City.
Okay. So all these gangbangers, right? They rather gangbang on each other and they talk all this shit about these white people. I'm talking about people that say they hate white people, but they won't lift a finger to a white person. Why?
I agree with you, brother. I agree with you 100%. But you got to understand that this between gang banging and that people gang bang because it's about territory.
Nah, not no more. It used to stand for something like that. Now it's just stupid.
But it's still gang related. Anything
right.
It's like this group versus that group. For whatever reason they hate them for, they want to kill each other. You see
the hatred starts with self. They hate something inside of them. They're not in touch with their inner self, and that's the problem.
But we're talking about the black on black crime. The black on black crime, white on white crime, Orient on Orient crime. All these crimes are against each other because of the neighborhood, the community they're in. Period.
Nah.
It is. I mean, it's black on black crime because black people in their community fighting against black people. White on white crime and white people fighting against white people. So we're gonna ask why won't you go over here and kill this white dude in his neighborhood? Because they don't got no beef with the white boy in his neighborhood. They got the beef with the black people in their neighborhood.
So black people that live that live in the white community, they rather go outside of that community and go to a black community and go fuck with somebody that's a person of color. For instance, so I said you can take a group of black people that live in a white neighborhood or a white community. They choose to go outside of that community into a black community or where it's black people and that's where they want to do their crimes.
Now, let me ask you this, brother. So
okay,
I'm just asking you some questions now. We having a conversation.
I'm listening.
So if you got I could be wrong. If you got black people living in a white community, now is it an oppressed white community or is it an oppressed black community? Because if you got black people living in this middle class or upper class white community, I will bet you anything that these black kids ain't going to the neighborhood and fucking starting fights with black kids from the hood because they ain't even built for that. They not even built like that.
It depends. It depends. Well, hold on. It depends of their upbringing. Maybe their parents got them out the hood, but they still got that hood mentality. All right, let me spin it like this. Okay, so in the hood, right? Black people or a person of color, they told I'm gonna hit this lick real quick, right? They want to rob somebody. And it's white people, rich white people that live in the hood. Because in Newark, New Jersey, you got rich people that live smack dab in the hood, the projects where it's like boarded up windows. And you 2 houses down might be a rich white family, right? They'll rather rob a person of color for $15 than to rob the white man for $1,000.
Well, you know why?
No, that's what I told you. It's because
right?
Go ahead, answer the question.
It's territorial, brother.
How's it territorial?
You said it earlier. They know if they cross that line and go mess with that, you said it, and mess with that white guy and rob him, they might get 100 years. But if they rob somebody, but you said it now. But if they rob somebody in their neighborhood, they already know what the deal is.
No, you missed what I said. I said that white man live in that same neighborhood. So don't say in their neighborhood.
Right, but you understand what I'm saying. When that white man living in that neighborhood, this might be the hood. But you can best believe once they get into that neighborhood where he's at, when they walk into that neighborhood where that area he's at, they already know what time it is. First of all,
I get it, but what I'm saying is,
first of all, they know they don't belong there. And secondly, they can say, you know what? My chances are better going to rob somebody in this neighborhood and put somebody robbing somebody.
But see what you're doing. You keep saying in that neighborhood. I said that white man live in the same exact neighborhood as you.
It's territorial, brother. It's the same neighborhood, but different. It's broke up different. Because once she crossed some track, it's like crossing.
If he's your next door neighbor, ain't no crossover tracks. That is your next door, literally your next door neighbor, 10 feet away. That's what I'm talking about. You rather rob a person of color for $15 as opposed to robbing this white man for $1,000.
Because they understand the consequences, brother.
Okay, and that's what I said. It doesn't make sense. That's where all I was getting at. That's why I said black on black crime. It's something they hate about themselves, right? They hate the color of the skin they walk in.
I agree with you, but we just can't take away from the fact that crime is crime no matter what. And that's how you have to look at stuff, whether it's black on black crime, white on white crime. Now, the sentence is going to be different, but it's still a crime. So when we start looking at stuff as a crime and try not to separate it, the system's part. The system's problem is this with us. They don't look at crime as a crime. They separate it.
Right.
So the white man killed somebody black, he get 5 years. If I kill somebody black, I might get 1 year or 30 years, or vice versa. Right. So if I go in and rob the store for $20, and the white dude robbed the store for $20, he might get probation. They're going to put me in jail. So what the system got to do is they got to look at crime. Once they understand that a crime is a crime, then everything will be. Then the playing field is even. Right. Once they separate it, the playing field will never be even.
I got you. So All right, so like I said, I do got to jump on this. One of my friends. No. I'm just saying. So that's going to conclude today's episode. We definitely got to run it back because, like I said, we got so much to talk about. We didn't even get to the other two segments on this one alone. So we definitely got to run it back to finish this, and then I have other topics that I want to discuss with you. So yeah, like I said, we'll definitely stay in touch. So that's going to conclude today's episode. We hope everybody enjoyed it. We hope everybody gained some kind of knowledge or some kind of insight from this. Continue to share, like, comment, and if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. So whenever I have an episode, you'll be notified. But until next time, Larry, we out of here.
And I want to just thank everybody for tuning in. I really want to thank you for having me on your show. I'm gonna say this before I leave. June the 6th, my film Ella Baker will be premiering at the International Civil Rights Museum in downtown Greensboro. And I want everybody to understand this is what I'm about right here. Get the black mind right. Peace.
All right, have a good one.
Thank you.